friends and enemies. Welcome back to the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. This week, Len, is it possible that industrial mining is finished? I think it is. We'll talk about some fake paper Bitcoin being sent out to 1 million people and a bunch more street name changes here in the Great White North. But as always, the intro first. Hang in. And so, the government can say whatever they want about this thing not competing. It's for black market only. It's for this, for that. But they're really treating it like a threat. And one of the things that can't be attacked is your self-custody Bitcoin. And one of the things that can be attacked is the ETF. You can't be exposed to that. That's my view. It's not a good idea. And by the way, that'll hit MSTR too. It'll probably hit other stuff as well. Friends and enemies, welcome back. Canadian Bitcoiners podcast.
Friends and enemies, welcome to the CBP. Want to be better informed? Listen to Len and Joey. Sponsors taken care of right off the top. Bull Bitcoin and easy DNS. The media is feeding the slop.
Welcome back, everybody. Great to be back in Ontario. Good to see you, Len. Busy weekend for me. How's it going? How are things? How you doing? How you feeling? Price is way down, by the way. Not sure if you want to talk about that today, but our guy Andre put it in the thumbnail or in the title, I should say. We are not selling. I am not a seller at this price. Are you? No way.
Why would you be? We know where this thing is going.
That's right.
Like I told Noam last week. I think it was last week. I'm not sure if I told it live or not. The price, look, if it's 120, it's on sale. If it's in 70, it's still on sale. We know where this is going. Why even bother doing any trading? Don't risk yourself by doing leverage trading or trying to time the market. Just buy in, hold on to it. In the long run, you should be okay. Not financial advice, of course.
My brother, I agree. Let's do the sponsors, and then we'll do a little housekeeping. We'll talk a bit about the weekend I had, and we'll get into the show. EasyDNS is the chief sponsor, the banner sponsor, the headline sponsor. Mark is a longtime Bitcoiner, takes Bitcoin for his products at EasyDNS. If you want to do any website work, domain registration, you name it, he's got you every single time, 100% of the time, works every time. Cheap, easy, fast. And don't forget, it's mostly white glove. I understand it's pretty close to white glove if you use EasyDNS, which is great. You can pay a couple extra bucks for something like Easy Mail or Domain Share, extra security, not only for you and your domain, but if you have a mailing list or you're starting a business, whatever, you want to protect a list of clients, a mailing list, whatever, he's got you, no problem. And then on top of that, virtual private server stuff if you're a Bitcoiner, Nostr Relay Bitcoin node, BTC Pay Server. Never a better time to get paid in Bitcoin and to use Bitcoin as your day-to-day currency. Mark can help you with all of that. So go over easydns.com, use the promo code CBP Media, get half off your first round of buys. Who's the second sponsor?
I like Bull Bitcoin. You like Bull Bitcoin. Why? Yeah, because they are the best in the game. They do not hold on to your Bitcoin, and we'll talk about that later in the show, why you don't want to deal with an exchange that does that. So in order to facilitate a buy or a sell, but we'll talk about the buy, you got to provide a Bitcoin address. That's the way you want it. Non-custodial exchange, these guys, they have your privacy in mind because once you do the buy, they mix it and send it over to you. So really cool stuff over there. You could do limit orders. You can do a lot of different things that you could normally not do on a non-custodial exchange. These guys are not just in Canada, but they're also in Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, Costa Rica, a whole bunch of other countries, Western Europe as well. So they got a good chunk of the globe covered. Check them out. You could pay your bills what you want with them. So like, heck, if you got some bills you got to pay from Christmas still, you're kind of a delinquent, you could use your Bitcoin to pay those bills. And Bull Bitcoin will be happy to facilitate that transaction for you. So if you haven't already done so, what the heck are you waiting for? Open an account with them. Use our link below. Do that, and all your buys and sells are going to be cheaper moving forward. Do it now.
Yeah.
Stop listening to the show and just do it right now.
I don't know why you wouldn't. So a little housekeeping to start. We'll talk about the interviews first. Mr. Arnome last week, always a popular guest. I haven't listened to that episode yet. I've always been busy, but good reception so far. I see a lot of YouTube comments talking about whether Core is dead or Knots is dead and how far did Luke push this, maybe too far. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, I recommend you do. I know I'm going to. So thanks to Mr. Arnome, always a favorite of this show and a friend of the show and a friend of ours. So we appreciate his time. On Thursday, I'll be talking to Doomberg. I'll probably release that in a week or 2 weeks. I just wrapped up an interview with Kevin Muir, who's been on the show before. He sat down with me. I actually spent probably like 4 hours with Kev on Friday. Kev has a mailing list of like 100,000 people. He's got a podcast, Market Huddle, that gets some of the best guests you can get. He's, got a history of trading and market understanding. He was one of the headliners at the conference, and everyone I talked to at the conference wanted to hear from him. And so for him to spend a few hours with me on a Friday was a lot of fun. And we shared stories about life. I took some shit from him about Bitcoin. And we just had a great time. And I will talk a bit about the conference maybe before we start as well. But I want to thank him for his time on the interview. Doomberg Thursday, and then next week I'll be talking to Scott Horton. I am not going to stream any of those. I'm going to record them, put a little post-production into them, and then put them on the channel when they're finished. Because as you guys know, we have, I don't want to say Andre is like on staff, but we are paying somebody to help us with the YouTube side to give us some time back. Especially me. I want to spend time with my daughter now and not work on thumbnails and intros. So all that is coming. I was away, obviously, for the conference, Mike Campbell's World Outlook Conference. Big thanks to Mike and Grant, Annabelle, Dustin, the whole team over there at HPC and Mike's Money Talks and the conference, just staff, the hotel staff, everything amazing. You may not know who this guy is, Len, but I was basically from the time I got to the airport, I was like turned on to the whole conference, financial, Bitcoin, macro markets point of view. And like, I basically never turned off the entire weekend, maybe until I was in the airport Sunday morning, kind of reflecting on things with just a tiny bit of a headache from the night before. I shared a cab from the airport with Jim Thorne, Dr. J Strategy on Twitter, just by pure chance. And so we had a 45-minute ride home from the airport. That was an incredible 45 minutes. That guy's a lit fuse in a lot of ways. And I really appreciated talking to him. And he appreciated talking to me. And, one of the things I like about guys like that no matter how famous they are, no matter how much money they got, I think he might have an extra comma, that guy, I'm pretty sure. I saw him in the lobby after his talk, and he remembered me, introduced me to a friend of his. And that kind of stuff is invaluable. The entire conference was like 8 speakers. Some of them have been on this show. Some of them I want to have on this show down the road. Tony Greer, Kevin Muir, Heather Exner-Piro, who's been on the show. Kev's obviously been on the show. Me, Martin Armstrong, Sarah Weber, Kyle Irvine. Who else is on that list? I'm missing somebody. Paul Beatty, Joseph Schachner, like unbelievable. Ozzy Jurek, who I sat next to at dinner. I think I sent you and Boomer a picture of Ozzy. Ozzy and I having a couple of beers. And of course, Mike Campbell, Gordon Campbell, the premier. Unbelievable amount of just firepower at that table. And I said to my wife earlier, I don't often get imposter syndrome, but around those guys, it's hard not to, because just the depth and breadth of knowledge really does remind you that Bitcoin is just this small little thing. It is growing. It is important. I do believe that. I will always believe that. But there's so much knowledge out there that we just don't have in this space. And I think, like I've said before, one of the best things about Bitcoin is as you get invited to stuff like this and as Bitcoin grows, you will get some of this great knowledge coming toward you. Some of it hostile, I will admit. Paul Beatty and I had a nice conversation at dinner that started off, I think, a little heated, but he's a great guy too. Some of it hostile, but some of it really well-meaning. And so guys like Kev Muir, Tony Greer, those other guys I mentioned, girls I mentioned, fantastic people. I had a blast. And I just want to thank those guys again for having me. And it sounds like I'll be back next year, which is awesome. I'm really looking forward to that as well. And I will try my best to release the presentation. Don't forget, okay? The tickets for that conference are about $500. So for me to release the presentation, like privately, probably not kosher. I will say that it was about 36 minutes, just me and my slides. And I was going to do kind of a prices down, I don't know what to say, presentation, because I had the deck done by the time I got on the plane on Thursday and the price dropped 20%. So I ended up rewriting a lot of the slides and just, really getting on my horse, sharpening my knife. And I went after gold for half of the presentation. Basically said, your gold is worthless. I don't know why you guys are wasting your time here. You haven't outperformed anything. It hasn't protected your wealth. You can't store it. You can't secure it. You can't verify it. You can't do any of that stuff. Talked a bit about mining and grids and stuff like that as well. But I will try to post something from it, even if not the whole talk. I'll talk to Grant and see what he's willing to allow, and we'll go from there. But I got a lot of messages of support from listeners, a lot of messages of support from people who just know me from Twitter, maybe don't even listen to the show. And I'm appreciative of all that. And it made a big difference because I got to tell you, like I said, I am not often nervous, but I didn't eat the morning of that talk. I had half a cup of coffee because I knew I was going to be jittery if I had more than that. And I just basically sat in my room until 11 o'clock. I watched Tony Greer at 11:15. He finished his presentation with 5 minutes telling everyone that Bitcoin was going to 20,000 and that it was related to the Epstein files and all this stuff, right? Now, I don't expect him to know a lot about Bitcoin, but, it was good. I really enjoyed it. And it was an experience I'd never had before. That room has about 2,000 people in it, if I had to guess, between 1,500 and 2,000 people. So that's new for me. I tried to tell myself that every week, if I look at the play count of the show, it's more than that. I won't say how much more, but it's more than that. And I don't consider that a big number when it's just you and me talking, Len, and people are listening after the fact or during. But I'll tell you, in a room full of people, it's a bit of a different ball game. So thanks everybody for all your support, and I'll do my best to see if I can share that.
Joey, how energetic are you today?
Pretty energetic. I feel fine. I told Boomer, like he offered to co-host. I told him I thought I'd be okay. I did my best to stay on EST while I was over there. So I was going to bed at like 8 and then getting up at like 5.
Okay.
Just try and stay.
Why I asked is because this may go extra long. There's too much to. There's not.
Well, we got to try and cut it.
If you want to disappear at any time, feel free to do so.
No. Let's go till 8:30. The normal length.
Like, no. There's way. This can't be a hard cutoff. There's so much to talk about today. We have to hear.
Okay, well,
if you have to disappear,
because my mother-in-law's upstairs, so I can't stay for that long. Yeah.
So then, if you gotta go, let me know, and I'll do the last part by myself. But there's just too much. Boost, Joey.
Sure.
Number 1, Dan Wedge, 513.
Wedge. Wow.
He says, this is the bear podcast you need. Jamie, 4,000 sats. You baited me into a bigger boost. I shouldn't get any airtime with 200 sat boost. It's like a 1 sat sap. Smiley face.
Thanks.
Enjoy your weekly show. Keep up the great work, guys.
Sure. Thank you.
Business Cat, 4444 sats. Looking forward to Scott Horton. I listen to his podcast Provoked with Daryl Cooper every week.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah. He wrote the book on the U.S., basically, U.S. and Ukraine provoking that war with Russia. That's the sort of crux of the book. We're going to talk about that. I like Scott a lot, so I'm looking forward to that conversation.
And last but not least, we have Jared, 5,000 sats. He says the community stepping up the boosts. Love to see it.
Me too, man. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with it. I think in the past we've done like donations and stuff, but it's kind of hard to find people willing to take Bitcoin at 50% off the highs. We'll see. We'll see what we do with it. We'll figure something out. Or maybe I'll just take it. I don't know. Whatever.
Our hands are always open when it comes to that.
That's right.
All right, buckle up. This is going to be a dandy.
Let's do it. Where do you want to start?
Bitfarms.
Yeah, love this.
Bitfarms is no more. Say goodbye to them. Say hello to Keel Infrastructure. Keel, K-E-E-L. That name just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? It's like the Keel Center in St. Louis. It's also the ticker name, K-E-E-L.
Yeah, that's what it is the mining operation keeling over and dying. That's what it actually is.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. No longer is Bitfarms doing Bitcoin mining. They have pivoted into something that is more lucrative, at least they believe to be more lucrative for them, high performance computing, HPC, and AI data centers. This seems to be all the rage these days, and they want to get on that gravy train. I do not blame them. They are a publicly traded company, and they have to provide as much value to their shareholders as possible. And not too long ago, Bitfarms, they had a Riot chasing them, right?
Yep.
The Riot was trying to do a takeover of them. That was what, a mere 2 years ago, maybe less.
Yeah, if that. Yeah.
Well, that's
maybe longer. When did we have Jeff Lucas on? Jeff Lucas is our CFO. I think it was. No, I'm pretty sure that was 23. I was living here, but I don't think I'd been here that long. I definitely didn't have my daughter yet, so yeah, I don't know.
Well, anyways, Riot, they have to find some other company they could gobble up, because Bitfarms, they want to do gobble them up. They're no longer doing Bitcoin mining. With respect to Bitfarms no longer in Bitcoin mining, like, who could have predicted this? Right? Like a company that does not generate their own electricity, they are obviously, they're not in the best position to mine Bitcoin. And they are, in the past, they've been primarily dealing with the province of Quebec. I know they've have exposure in the United States and in South America, Argentina, Peru as well, maybe.
They were doing a lot of expansion into those like energy friendly jurisdictions, trying to anyway.
And I remember in Quebec, the Quebec government put a kibosh to any new expansion to Bitcoin mining operations because, let's be honest, there's only a finite amount of electricity being generated by the province of Quebec, and they want to keep that to keep their citizens happy, nice and cheap energy for them, thanks to people like the province of Alberta for funding this. And I'm wondering if they're going to have that same tune when it comes to this shift towards HPC and data centers. I wonder if they're going to have that same type of, we don't want any more expansion. I'd like to see this, but either way, they say they're going to be getting NVIDIA GPUs and they'll be expected to be delivered sometime in the latter part of 2026.
Good luck. So it's going to I don't believe that for a second.
It's just going to make it even more challenging for people that want to get them if there's a shortage of these GPUs. And this isn't the only one that capitulated this past week. A company by the name, I never heard of this, Cango Group, Cango Group. They announced that they're no longer doing Bitcoin mining, and they too are pivoting towards AI computing, and they're going to be launching EcoHash technology, deploying modular GPU nodes, and targeting long tail AI demand. They say this is going to be helping for scalability and reoccurring revenue. Like I say, if you don't have your own energy that you're generating, you're probably most likely going to be pivoting to something else. If you have stranded energy, then it's a possibility you're going to stay in Bitcoin mining, which is, it is what it is. But everybody could do whatever they want. It's their electricity. If they want it to find something else, chase profits elsewhere, all the more power to them. But with respect to this too, we had these two announcements come out, but also in conjunction with this, the Bitcoin network, the difficulty adjustment went down 11.16%. That is the fourth largest negative drawdown the 10th largest in Bitcoin history. The 10th lasted fourth. It was actually the 10th. And so some of this is attributed to stuff like Bitfarms and Cango, I guess, doing their thing. But some of this, or a lot of this, is to the deep freeze that is impacting North America.
Demand response, right? Let's not forget about that. Yeah.
They have to stop. The energy has to be used for heating homes and businesses. I get that.
Yeah.
So let's not look at this as a huge negative, or it's the end of Bitcoin mining, because right now, last I checked, there's going to be an upward adjustment of around 15%. That was the last time I checked was yesterday. It was still relatively recent in this whole adjustment period, but let's not look at this and say it's the end of the world for Bitcoin mining. It's a change. China banned Bitcoin. That's fine. The Northern Mongolia report, we no longer do that. So this is just a change in Bitcoin mining. It's just the way things are going to happen.
It was the Inner Mongolia mining.
Inner Mongolia. My bad.
I don't know. There could have been more stuff going on in Northern Mongolia. We didn't.
Yeah, we didn't
cover
them as well.
We didn't cover it. Okay, so let's talk about sort of the theme here. Okay, if I look at my notes, the list now of companies that have pivoted away is growing: HUD 8, Core, AREN, and now these guys. Not just a little bit, but like basically a full pivot, because you can't use the ASICs for HPC. The ASICs are application specific, like everyone knows. The interesting thing to me is really the language that Ben and his C-suite were using over the past year. You'll remember when we had Jeff on, or maybe you don't remember, not you, but the listener, sort of the royal you. You'll remember that Jeff talked a lot about the synthetic Bitcoin hedge they had, how important it was they were in Bitcoin. Ben has been like maybe the strongest proponent of Bitcoin mining anywhere for the last 5 years. He's been on CNBC. He's been on every business channel, every podcast, including this one, talking about how this is the way that businesses should be thinking. It should be about Bitcoin mining first. Everyone else is going to fall behind, blah, blah, blah. Well, here we are now with another company getting off of the network. So I think there's probably two things at play here, two sort of factors. Number one is I do believe that it's going to get really hard to get ASICs, not because ASICs are being bought up, but because the people who are selling wafer level hardware for graphics cards and for other HPC applications, including Bitcoin mining, they're not selling them to Bitmain. They're not selling them to Antminer, whatever. They're not selling them to all these people. They're selling them to AI, like AI data related functions at the wafer level. Like I've said before, it's going to be hard to get that equipment over the next few years, which I think is a risk that not enough people are talking about. Even if we stay at the level of industrial mining that we see today, the hash rate, in order for it to grow, you either have to put more hardware down or you need better hardware. And I'm not sure either of those things is going to happen over the next 2 or 3 years until we figure out what's going on with this AI stuff. Because as long as people want to make videos of, Elon Musk squaring off against Donald Trump in a boxing match at all hours of the day, that hardware is going to go to those places. And worse, it sounds to me like, at least in the US, that entire sector is becoming too big to fail. And so they will receive not only government, like monetary support from the government, financial support from the government, but they'll also receive supply chain preference. They'll also receive political preference that Bitcoin miners have always had trouble getting, but now I think is probably almost impossible to get over one of these AI companies. That's number one. Number two, there's just no doubt that mining is not a good business. It's never been a good business. And I think you're seeing this more and more. How many mining companies are really biting the dust here? Guys that were so passionate, so front and center, about this application for hardware, have basically all fallen off in the last few years, whether it's Cathedra, Bitfarms, Hut 8. Like Hut 8 was emailing us cold, trying to get Sue on this show like 2 years ago. We want to talk to people about Hut 8. We want to get and we at the time were not talking to miners because we thought this was going to continue. And here we are. It did continue. I know we had this right a long time ago. The question that Bitcoiners have to answer here, and this is going to be hard to hear, but if all these industrial miners leave the network, you're talking about a security risk. Plain and simple. You need industrial miners now for this thing because not enough people are mining at home for sure. And I see in the chat difficulty will adjust. Definitely it will. But you need that network security. You really want that. That's something that when I presented at the Money Talks conference, a lot of people were impressed with, that if you put a graph of hash rate against price, they're not correlative. The price goes up and down all around, sharp jumps, sharp falls, but hash rate, generally speaking, is up and to the right. So, I think it's important that we try and keep that up. It's just going to be difficult. So how many industrial miners are left now, really, that that are investable, let's say? There's not that many. 3, maybe 4. I don't know. What's the number? And so if you start seeing those drop off, I think you got to consider there's a bit of an issue here because you want that network security big time.
So in terms of the publicly traded miners, the top 12, what do you think they make up the hash rate? This is at late 2024. So that's what
top 12.
Yeah.
80%.
Public 28.9%.
Okay. Wow. Really? That's it?
How much?
That's still pretty high. 30%.
It's still pretty high. But the question is, those are publicly traded. How many are not publicly traded? Like the Exxons and the Saudis and the Qataris.
The problem is what the problem is? We're gonna find out how much is not publicly traded, how much is not public. We're gonna find out, I think, which will be interesting.
Because this is a beautiful thing that anybody could come in and come out. There's no reporting requirement required.
Yeah.
Because it's a floating thing. The thing is, you want to participate in the network, you can. You want to disappear anytime you want, you can.
I want to address John's comment there that they might be shedding those ASICs to individuals. Individuals can't use ASIC miners in a lot of jurisdictions. Like I talked to this guy Greg at the conference who listens to the show and actually got in touch with Tuan. Tuan will know who I'm talking about. This fella told me that he tried to get a mining set up at a farm that he has in Alberta, sort of a farm compound, and the math just didn't work for him. And it's not necessarily about power cost, as he pointed out, but about transport cost, infrastructure cost that's attached to your terawatts or your kilowatt hour cost, I should say. So, those costs are they're independent of what electricity costs to produce. Provinces set those, territories set those, and states set those. And if they want more tax from certain people or certain jurisdictions, they're going to get it that way. So, it is fair to say they might shed those units to individuals, but individuals might not be able to use them, and certainly won't be able to use them 24/7 like these guys do. They're not going to be sort of price agnostic miners. And then to your point, Len, people can come in and come out. The problem is no one is coming in. So
this is not exclusive to Bitcoin.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, but Bitcoin needs it more than other things.
Because you're saying it, but you're not saying the whole story. There's more to it. Try buying some DDR5 memory.
Oh, for sure. I know it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're Nintendo, the Switch 2 is impacted. If you're Sony, the upcoming PlayStation 6 is impacted. And those are heavy hitters. So it's not just strictly a Bitcoin mining thing. This is a global shortage with respect to certain types of computer components.
Yeah.
And when it comes to that, it all comes down to who is the highest bidder. If Bitmain can provide a bid that's high enough, they'll be able to get the stuff. They probably won't be able to, but whoever is providing this, the ones that provide the highest bid for the largest volume, obviously they're going to get the lion's share of what's coming out. And that's capitalism, right? You have
I don't disagree. It's an open system. It's in flux, and it's something to keep an eye on. I think there's some, I don't know how much risk there is, but there's some risk for sure if this keeps up.
Bitcoin CA, the subreddit, some dude on there posted about an old Binance account he had, or he has had. I don't know. Either way, he said he bought Bitcoin from a Bitcoin ATM. This is a very unique story. So the guy went to a Bitcoin ATM, he bought Bitcoin, and he used the Binance account, his account, as the storage for that Bitcoin, the wallet. So he's not using something that he has total control over. He thinks he has control, but Binance is the one that actually has control. At the time he bought the Bitcoin at the ATM, he was under 18 at the time. He faked his age, his name, and so Binance, sometime between then and now, they went the KYC route, and they effectively shut him out from his account, even though he still has the password and the email address for that account. But one thing he's missing is the phone number that had the 2FA. It's no longer in his possession. So that's a bit of a challenge over there. With all this being said, Binance is not budging, and I don't blame them for that. All this to be said, though, is another reason why you don't want to leave your shit on an exchange, right? I know this was an exceptional circumstance. The guy didn't buy from Binance per se and leave it on there. He bought somewhere else to move it to Binance. Pretty funny if you ask me. Still, it just highlights the fact you shouldn't leave anything on an exchange. This guy, I'm not sure how much he didn't say how much he bought initially. He did say he has 0.2 Bitcoin. That's now worth $14,000. This could have been a few $100s when he made the purchase. 0.2 Bitcoin is now lost, it looks like. I appreciate the donation. Actually, it's probably not totally lost. Binance is going to use it for their own gains in the future. But this guy made
it's part of the SAFU fund now.
Yeah, they increased that today. I'm not sure if you saw that note. They got it just bigger and bigger. But you know what I mean? Like, just to show you, for everybody out there, why it is you don't want to leave anything on an exchange. Because even if you have good intentions, you can fuck up along the way. It's not the ATM or it's not the exchange's fault. Just things change. Circumstances change. Granted, he faked his name and his age, but still, like, if he had his own Bitcoin wallet, if he had
wouldn't have to worry about it. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. It does not care your age, does not care your name, does not care anything. It just has, do you have those 12 or 24 words? Yes. All the more power to you. That's all it fucking cares, man.
I really don't have much to say about this, except strange that he waited this long to try and get it back. Right?
He probably has been doing it for some time.
And he's just posting about it now. You think he's just lamenting?
I think he's reached the end of his line in terms of what he can do with what he knows, and I suspect he's just asking for advice. Is there anything somebody can provide me in terms of getting? It's it's a sad story. So yeah, I would imagine he's done this a long time ago, and he probably just started. Maybe in the past few years, he's like, oh shit, 0.2 Bitcoin.
Wouldn't even be that long.
125K.
Yeah.
It's not life changing, but it's a cheap car.
Yeah, if you bought underage during like COVID, 0.2 back then compared to now, that's a big gain. Poor kid. Now he won't be able to afford a car. He'll have to buy one of these Chinese EVs instead of a nice nice Lexus or Volkswagen. You'll have to buy a Xiaomi SUV, whatever's
Well,
coming
the good
over.
news is they'll be able to know everything like he does, where
He'll
goes.
never lose a password again. They'll have it all. Yeah.
It's beautiful. So he will be surveilled until the end of his days. Trump, baby. Let's
your
talk
guy,
about this.
your favorite guy. Yeah.
I he is what he is. Donald Trump, paper-handed, it looks like, because at least when it comes to wrapped Bitcoins, World Liberty, they supposedly sold 73 of those wrapped guys for about $5 million. They sold at $69,000 a piece. It looks like they were trying to make meme material out of this, and they probably did. The reason for the sale is because they're degens, and they need to repay a nearly $12 million loan in USDC stablecoin, and they needed to do this to avoid being liquidated. It's shit like this. I almost wish, Joey, that the price of Bitcoin could go down to just for like a nanosecond to 15K or less, just to wipe out all this garbage and then climb back up to where it was. Let's get rid of all this fucking trash. So the people involved here, I decided to take a look. World Liberty 5. There's 4 co-founders here that are listed here. You got the Donald Done, you got Donald Jr., you got Eric, and Baron. So I don't know which of the 4 is the most paper-handed, the one that's fucking pulling the levers here. But if I had to guess, Eric, that's my guess. What the fuck do I know? Anyways, they have 73 wrapped Bitcoin still left, it looks like. That's been sold. Oh, sorry, they sold another 73 wrapped Bitcoin not too long ago. And so, yeah, they just continue selling and selling. And whatever. It's just another reason why you don't want to play with leverage. You don't want to deal with this garbage, because this kind of wasn't the main reason for the price dip we just experienced. But you know what? A drop here, a drop there, liquidation here, it all adds up. In the end, we all benefited from it, right? We all able to buy more Bitcoin on the cheap, or even cheaper, thanks to this. But in the end, these fucking degens, World Liberty, what the fuck? And wrap Bitcoin at that.
I mean, are you surprised? You're not surprised by this?
A little. I wasn't aware they were doing this leverage trading over there. Maybe I'm just so naive. I am so naive. Let's make it. Let's correct that. I'm just flabbergasted. Why the fuck? They just trying to make huge gains. If only they bought Bitcoin. Just bought Bitcoin. Never mind the wrap shit. Never mind the leveraging and all this. You know how much Bitcoin they would still have today? The same that they have when they bought it the first time. They would have lost nothing. You know what I mean? Like, what a beautiful thing. You buy
You're
it, you
truly
hold it.
the yeah.
Don't matter what the price is. It's going to be this. You'll own the same amount of sats regardless of whatever the price is.
Yeah.
I look at that. Think that makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't I? Whatever.
I don't know why you're taking Aave loans, but
I agree.
Yeah, whatever. I guess. I think if I had to guess, I would say that it's Eric and Don Jr. that are the problem here. Baron, I suspect, is much more sure-handed with his funds. Yeah, I do think that's probably the case. I mean, those guys are a lot older than him, and just if you think about what the older generation cares about, they care about fiat gains, they care about leverage, and real estate. Leverage is really the name of the game. Obviously, they come from that world, so I suspect that's the problem. But at the end of the day, like, this doesn't have any bearing on anything. People who hated Trump before are going to hate him after. If you liked him before, you're going to like him now. And like you said, as far as Bitcoin goes, like, who cares? It's a whatever. They also had some ETH in there too. I don't know if you saw that, but it's like a pretty it's a mixed bag of stuff they tried to sell. Yeah, exactly. So they
for them.
Yeah, they're not just hurting the Bitcoin network. They're going after ETH too, which is nice.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Sell it all, baby. Sell it all. And they're not the only ones. So SQNS Sequan
Barkley. Yeah.
So Barkley here decided to sell some more Bitcoin. Looks like 970 was sold a few months ago. Another 100 looks like they got rid of. And they're slowly capitulating with respect to the treasury company side of things, they're going to be soon to be a former treasury company if it continue down this path for a long enough period of time. They still have about 2,200 Bitcoin left in their reserves.
Yeah.
But if things stay the way they are, the price doesn't rebound all that much, I don't think this is going to be the only company out there that is going to say, I've had enough. You're going to have some others that are just going to flood the market.
Yeah.
And if they do, like, that's a huge pressure that's going to be adding to the existing sell pressure, and that could really drive, and then just it fucking spirals out of control. This is what you want, man. You want to just flush their shit down the toilet, buy Bitcoin on the cheap, and let's start again.
This is listen, I'm going to say something, okay? People are not going to like this. Sequans today, MSTR tomorrow, okay? I think you're going to see more of these companies selling Bitcoin to make ends meet. I realize MSTR, Jeff Walton, who I like, I always preface when I talk about him that I do think he's an honest actor and a smart guy. Oftentimes, at 110,000, 120,000 would say, look, MSTR is 100 times over collateralized. Would you still do this loan if it was 50 times over collateralized? Yeah, you would. Well, now they're at the 50 times. And Saylor on his earnings call, which happened to be on Thursday, Len, I don't know if you knew that, but the worst day for Bitcoin ever, he has to do his earnings at the end of the day, him and Fong Lee. And he noted that he does have a number where they'd have to raise capital to cover some of the outstanding debt commitments. And that number he thinks is $8,000 Bitcoin. Now, I personally wish he wouldn't have said that. And I also think that number is probably actually lower. Important date coming up in Q4 this year. I'm kind of half working on a video, like some research for a video that I want to do on why I think MSTR is going to be forced to sell, but some of it is just a little too far above my pay grade. But if I do learn enough about this, I will make the video. Anyway, to get back to Sequans here.
No, let's stick on this. I'm amazed that there's even a price.
That's what he says. That's what he says.
He says
8,000 is the number.
And he may say that, and I still think everything is going to be up to how much, if somebody's going to willingly lend him debt.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
If the price even goes, say, to 8,000, if there's debt that could be had and he could justify getting that debt, then this circus is going to continue.
Maybe.
This is my personal opinion.
I don't know.
The only way that they'll really sell is if the price goes super low. And I don't even think 4 figures would be the price. That's it. And the only other nuclear option for them that would just blow things up and just be a crater left of MSTR is if something happens to the Bitcoin that somebody else is holding for them.
Well, the other thing too is like I don't even think that's not even on my list of concerns. Like the custodian thing is not on my list of concerns at all. The thing that I think people need to think about is at what point do we get into failed experiment territory on a downswing? Like 69 or 59 or wherever we were on Thursday, wasn't it? But it's 39, it's 29, and so to your point, while it is true that the commitment has trouble at 8K according to him, the raise, because the raise relies on Bitcoin is going to outperform the debt, that the raise depends on people still thinking there's a chance that that's doable. And you may feel that way at 60, you may feel that way at 50, but are you going to feel that way at 30, 20? Like the number is actually much higher than where the commitment becomes a problem, because the capital raises also stop. And so he may not be a forced seller at 20, but that will start the clock for him if he can't raise capital because people don't have the same faith in the asset. And I think he's, no one asks him that on the investor call. Like no one's ever asking difficult questions. And I wish they would bring on somebody who would ask difficult questions, but so far it's been pretty, inert. But there
was it you that said that he's not going to do any OTC buys anymore?
He doesn't. He wants to switch to
it was
market
you that said
buys.
It, right?
Yeah.
Now
he said that, not me. He said that.
Now to go back to the other statement you said, do you trust any exchange? And I say it all the time.
About what? You talking about the custodians?
Just in general, like when I buy Bitcoin, I don't leave on an exchange, and I say this, and I fucking believe it, and I hope you believe it too, because you nod your head at the same time.
Yeah.
And if you believe that statement, then the same also applies for somebody holding onto your Bitcoin on an industrial stage. If somebody else is holding on your Bitcoin, it's just on a retail level. If you buy, 500 sats.
The thing is that Coinbase doesn't use the same. Coinbase is not using an Indian low wage guy on the help desk to secure Saylor's coin. Fidelity's not using whatever Joey and Len get in terms of account protection at Fidelity. Sailor doesn't get that. So am I worried about Fidelity as a custodian for you and me? Yeah. Am I worried about it for him? No. Neither with Coinbase, neither with the others.
I think as long as there is a weak link and that's somebody else holding on to it, that's something to be concerning. We've had people in governments give up the information, and they weren't, as you mentioned, they had the backgrounds. Just because people got to them, they were able to persuade them, twist their arm, and information could flow. Yeah, and things could be done behind the scenes that you don't know. Shit could happen, and I'm not exactly sure what are the mechanisms behind those closed doors to secure those Bitcoin, but I could tell you for a fact that I have way more faith in myself securing my Bitcoin, and I'm fairly certain that MicroStrategy could do some sort of internal multi-sig.
They certainly could, yeah,
and it would alleviate a lot of concerns, a lot of. Not to say that they don't have it. They've bought that Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin, I'm sure, that was purchased for them. It's not fucking paper and it's not fake.
Yeah.
It's just the access to it and the long-term security of it is something that I have concerns about. And I'll continue to have that. Let's talk about maybe the largest Lightning transaction done to date.
This is wild. $1 million?
At the time.
Yeah, it's 500. It's 500K now. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's go with the narrative of $1 million worth of Bitcoin.
Hey, okay. It's the bit size, okay, not the dollar amount that matters. That's what we care about. Yeah.
And we don't have bit size envy over
That's
here.
Right. That's right.
Secure Digital Markets. That's a Toronto-based regulated institutional cryptocurrency brokerage and liquidity provider. They've been around since 2017. Maybe we should go to their studios and shoot have a rip with them.
Do you think they'll have us? Yeah. Should we go down?
I'm not gonna fucking go and talk to them.
You don't go anywhere. What do you?
Exactly that. Go see Secure Digital Markets. Secure this. They said that they sent $1 million worth of Bitcoin at the time this was done to Kraken over the Lightning Network. This was done on January 28th, 2026. And be it 1 sat, be it 100 million sats, the Lightning Network can work. And the capacity of Lightning Network right now is at an all-time high. 5,600 Bitcoin has been secured or locked up within the Lightning Network as of December 2025. And if you want to compare that to the previous year, that's up from 4,200 compared to late 2024. Number go up. And they say in this article that I read from Yahoo, it says that Lightning now handles roughly 15% of Bitcoin payments for merchants. Now, I don't think that Bitcoin payments for merchants is relatively large. So it's probably just a drop in the bucket more than anything else. And I can't verify anything. This 15%, this could be a number that they just fucking pulled out of their ass. But it seems plausible. I'm gonna go with it. That's fine. But the big thing here that we have to take away from this story is just the fact that they were able to move that amount of
a lot of there's liquidity in the channels. Yeah, for that
100%. Yeah. You know, there are times when you're trying to send something and there's not enough.
Man, do you remember what it was like 3 years ago at conferences trying to send Lightning transactions to people for stuff? And now people are sending $1 million.
Joey, even this week, I had some difficulty sending some Lightning transactions. Now, granted, I try to undercut the fucking, but still. I don't know, man. I look at this and I know there's issues with Lightning scalability. With Lightning can't reach all 8 billion or 9 billion people on this earth or whatever the fuck the number is. I get it, but still, it goes to show you that you could send large amounts. So theoretically, you could buy a house with Lightning.
Yeah,
theoretically with this, I wouldn't recommend it. It's still go on chain, but interesting. I like this. Pretty cool stuff.
I think so too. One of the things a lot of people asked me about at the conference was transaction optionality, because one of the points I made in my slides was, millennials and Zoomers don't want to have to deal with banks, don't want to have to deal with brokers, don't want to have to, sign in, verify all this stuff. They want a wallet on their phone that they can send Bitcoin from, and Lightning fixes that. Liquid, another option. Bull Bitcoin uses the Liquid network as well. There's many choices you have if you want to send Bitcoin without any custodian, without any need to sign into anything. And of course, quickly, right? If you don't want to wait for the blocks to confirm for finality, you can do it over Lightning and have the confirmation come later. most of the time when I give that spiel, as I'm sure you do, as I'm sure people in the chat do, it's always, yeah, small transactions. You want to do something like $50, $100, pretty easy to do these days. But now you're talking $1 million. The problem I think we are going to start to see if this becomes frequent is exactly what you said, that now you're talking major taxable transactions, completely untraceable. That's significant. And I'm a little worried it puts a bullseye. I mean, no one in the media or politics is paying attention to the Lightning Network, I think. But looking at that is significant. Senator Lummis in the States trying to do the de minimis tax exemption right now for Bitcoin sends, spends, however you want to phrase it.
What's the limit they're saying they want?
I don't know what it is, but it ain't $1 million. And if this gets out, one of the criticisms of that bill will be, hey, you're telling people they can spend de minimis, and the only de minimis transactions are happening on this network because the fees otherwise make it sort of unpalatable in some cases. And this network can now send $1 million. You're telling people you're gonna send people to an underground network to send tax-free transactions of up to $1 million when the de minimis amount is, whatever it ends up being, 200, 500, 1,000. I don't know. There's some cause for concern there, but man, how can anyone, I'll just close on a high note. How can anyone say Lightning doesn't work if you're sending $1 million transaction? How can you say it doesn't work? How can you say, to these guys, I remember at the conference, people saying to Sean Anstey, well, we don't think Lightning is a reasonable business to get into. We don't think Lightning Network is going to work. All these guys saying Lightning Network is failed, blah, blah, blah. How can you say that? How can you say that if it works for $1 million transaction? What is the case for that now?
I think it more than anything, it goes to theoretical upper limit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how this was done in terms of everything being like, did they have to really fund fund their outgoing and incoming channels to make sure?
Yeah. And John is saying that too. They need some support, but I mean,
yeah,
they need support today, but are they going to need that same support 2 years from now? I don't know. I'm not sure.
This is like,
it's liquidity at the end of the day more than anything, right? And so if the price of Bitcoin goes up, then shouldn't you be able to? I don't know. Something to think about, man. I think there's a lot.
It's like when they're trying to achieve nuclear fusion. They could do it like within a set of parameters and for just a brief moment of time. Theoretically, it's possible, but to scale this out so it's done in the real world, it's good luck. I think this could be similar to that, but at the very least, it goes to show you can. I like these stories.
Yeah.
And we definitely need more of them, especially nowadays with Bitcoin, to show that, we're not just fighting each other. We're building on the fucking thing more than anything. And we're not being fucking stupid. Like BitThumb. The fuck is this? I never heard of BitThumb.
Very, very strange. This, because this is why people, when we talk about, okay, say the story first, and then I'll talk about why I think this is.
Have you heard of BitThumb before?
I have.
You have, okay.
Yeah.
And I don't. That's pretty good because they are apparently one of the largest, most prominent exchanges in South Korea. But obviously, I don't leave the fucking basement, so I don't get to experience this shit. But they fucked up. They either fat fingered or fat thumbed something along the way because they were supposed to send out 2,000 Korean won as reward, which is pennies or dollars. Instead, they send out 2,000 Bitcoin to hundreds of users out there. The fuck, once people got it, just when people started selling, they recouped some of it. I think like 97% of the Bitcoin they sent out, it was recouped. But the question I have, 2,000 Bitcoin, that equates to this past weekend around 142 million, if my math was done correctly.
It's a lot of money.
How does an exchange have 2,000 Bitcoin that you're sitting on?
There was a problem with their database. So it thought they did, and it just sent it out to the accounts. This is what happens when
the paper Bitcoin.
Exactly. And by the way, not that ShakePay is rehypothecating or doing paper, but when you if me and you send Bitcoin to each other on ShakePay, it's this type of transaction, this backside of the ledger, this account sent to this account, no Bitcoin moves, right? But the problem is when you start filling accounts, they can sell at market and you're in trouble after that, that stuff, because now you got these market sales. And if you don't have the Bitcoin, well,
you don't have the ability to,
that's
like
right.
a bank run.
That's right.
If people were able to act in this immediately, either sell or move it off the exchange
Yeah.
immediately without them knowing, they would be done. There would be no recovering from this $142 million fiasco. They'd be in the hole probably, $1 million, $2 million, whatever the fuck that they have on hand. And that's that. That would be the end of BitThumb. And you got fucking Bitfinger after this.
Well, the claim
new
is that they
company that
recovered some of this, but I don't know how that's possible.
Because some people didn't sell. The way I think what happened is they sent it out. It went from,
okay.
and it was on the account. They, nobody logged in.
Yeah, it wasn't really framed that way in the stories that I read. It was more like, people naysaying, like, turns out the people can just go get your Bitcoin back. I thought that's kind of, must be something
the
wrong
way
with
I
that.
believe it, and I could be wrong. This is just what I'm trying to connect dots here, is they moved it to the accounts. The money or the Bitcoin didn't move off the accounts that are on the exchange. The keys are held by BitThumb.
Yeah.
And just fucking
Custodians, man.
Change something on the database, move the Bitcoin, and away they go.
Be careful with custodians. You never know what you're going to get into, for sure. Especially with the less reputable ones. Like, what is the rationale for using BitThumb over any of these other options?
In
Jurisdiction,
Korea, I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. Is that the problem?
I don't know what options they have over there.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the premier Bitcoin exchange. It doesn't seem like that's the case. I think that they're a crypto exchange, so you could get your ETH and everything else under the sun over there.
You can get your Aave there. Get your Aave for your loans.
Gloria looks like she's had enough. Took her ball and went home.
Call it a day.
For her, no longer involved, at least on an official manner, along with Bitcoin Core. People are wondering what's the cause of this. It just abruptly came this message. She posted it on the GitHub saying that she's just no longer going to hold on to the keys to the GitHub, and that's it. And was she pressured out? Was she forced out internally? I think that probably more she was pressured out, and she faced a ton of backlash over the past while. And part of this,
political, her BIP support, leanings. Yeah.
The opportune stuff.
That's life in core, man. Like, what do you want? You need, we talked about it. I don't think she's cut out for it. And what we have to do now, Len, is just. Just kidding. Day. No one cares. Okay, what else do you want to talk about?
Well, I was just going to say there's always the possibility that she may go in an anonymous route here.
Maybe.
Saying, I'm done, but then...
Zoria Gao? Like, is that, what are we...
Change a letter, moving around. It's not impossible for anybody to do that, to just go NIM and continually do their work. Now, at that point, she's then disconnected herself from any work that she's doing, and she could still doing whatever work she can to torpedo Bitcoin in the way she's trying to torpedo Bitcoin. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I don't know. I know she's taken a lot of fucking backlash for this. It was pretty fucked up.
I don't think we'll see her again, to be honest with you, for obvious reasons. Like,
I don't think so. Yeah.
No. If anything, like, she'll go dev for some shitcoin maybe or something. She seems to think Bitcoin is serving the wrong function, or that we're not focused on the right things. So find a token that is. If that's
you think she'll open a OnlySats account or no?
I doubt it. I'm not going to talk about anything else. Whatever.
You don't know what's going to happen. Whatever.
Yeah. She does. Yeah, anything could happen.
You gotta roll free will. And there's some news out of the BitAxe camp. Solo Satoshi was tweeting about this new BitAxe 650 Gamma Duo, starting at this is USD 130, we'll call it, and it uses two BM 1370 ASIC chips. Those are from the Antminer S21 XPs. Total hash rate 1.63 terahash, drawing a mere 25.8 watts. That's about the same amount of watts as like an inkjet printer would be using when it's in use. So it's not very much at all. The efficiency is 15 joules per terahash. And where this 650 Gamma Duo falls in, it's in between two existing products. You have the 602 Gamma, that's priced at $89, and you have the BitAxe GT 801 priced at $206.
Yeah.
So the 602 is 1.1 terahash. The 650 that what I'm talking about is 1.63 terahash, and the 801 is 2.15 terahash. It's giving people options. I like this. This is an open source project. Now the chips themselves are not open source, but everything else is open source. And I like giving people options to choose whatever the fuck they want to do. And in the end, this is just a lottery ticket. I would not recommend solo mining this unless you really want to collect your 10
if you want to learn or have some conversation starter or support the BitAxe team, sure. But it, like you said, it's a lottery ticket more than anything, and can give you an opportunity to learn a bit about mining software, pools, stuff like that, if you want to do it that way as well. Also, it flies in the face what we said earlier. You got Keel, Bitfarms leaving, and these guys still producing stuff for the USB class miner, which
I didn't even talk about Mawson infrastructure. I'm not. That's another one. It looks like that they may be taken over by Endeavor blockchain, but
there's a poison pill in there, right? So
yes, exactly that.
Yeah,
exactly that. And I guess the last thing I want to mention here is somebody sent 2.565 Bitcoin to a Satoshi era address.
Send it to me. Why not send it to me?
I love that people are still.
By the way, the Satoshi era thing, Len, was another thing that came up at the conference that people, not to pick on Tony Greer, but I watched his presentation in full, and at the end he did, try to get on Bitcoin's case a little bit. And one of the things he said was like, the Satoshi era people tell you to hold, and then Satoshi era wallets end up moving coins. And he was noting that there was like a $9 billion sell from one of the wallets from 2010 and talking about these hodlers just don't care. I would actually say that the opposite is true. Like if you look at the number of coins held long-term, you very rarely see Satoshi era coins moving, number one. And the number of people who hold through big price moves up is also going up. So I just want to mention that. As far as this particular story, what are the reasons you would ever do this? Maybe to like make to like honor Satoshi because you don't have anyone to give your coins to, maybe this guy's on his deathbed. I don't know. Could be any number of
things. I think it came from BitThumb and they fucked up.
It was paper.
If I had to guess, they fucked up along the way. I really don't know why they would do this. Now, to go back to about these Bitcoins, these Satoshi era wallets now selling.
Yeah.
Man, they've been holding on for 15
listen,
13,
I have
to not do a thing.
They're buying yachts and they deserve it. They held longer than any equity holder would ever have, more conviction than any commodity holder could ever dream of. And they deserve to get whatever they want. They want to sell 2012, 11, 13 era coins at, 100K US, 70K US.
Oh,
you earned it.
Before we wrap this one up, there's still one thing, because the recent price down.
Yeah.
The price drive, the Bitcoin went from 120 a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
to 61, whatever the fuck it was. I think that more than anything, for me, I've talked negatively about the borrowing of your Bitcoin and using that to fund lifestyle, because people are saying this is a great product moving forward. Like it works great in certain environments, but when the price goes down, you have to pay the piper.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan, just trade your Bitcoin for something for a good service on that day. And that way you don't owe anybody nothing going forward. Borrowing against it, I know it sounds good and there may be rationale to use it, but you have to be prepared for 50% or greater drawdown. And if that happens, the Bitcoin that you put up as collateral, do you have enough to continually fund that? Could you put more collateral into it? If you can't, you fucked up. You're going to be part like the Donald Trump situation, or sorry, the World Liberty 5 people, where they fucked up.
I agree. I'll share a couple of slides I did on this topic, because I don't typically look at stuff like this, but that conference is
for the audio side. Just explain it.
Yeah, I have a couple of slides from Glassnode up about, one of the cases I made to the crowd there was like, look, even if you're just a little bit curious about Bitcoin, you're looking to buy some, there's certain things you can look at to tell you whether or not a bottom is forming in the asset. And, those things are hard sometimes to understand if you're looking at it through like a Bloomberg terminal, but on Glassnode, they make it pretty easy. So this is the chart I was telling you about earlier, the number of sellers that move their coins at less than 155 days up and to the right, a lot more long-term holding. The Mayer multiple, you're at a zone here where it's a good buy. Historically, easy to backtest. The other case I made to these guys is unlike, trying to read the tea leaves with head and shoulders patterns and all this other stuff, you can look at perfectly transparent data because of the blockchain, because the blockchain makes it available to you for free. BTC market to realized value, the MVRV metric that Glassnode relies on a bunch. You can see here again, like below this, I think it's below like 0.4 or something, or below, is it 1.4? I forget. But anyway, you can see here, these bottoms under 1, they were historically good times to buy. And this price, I think, was a little high when I got this chart. It's probably lower now, and it shows you it's a good time to buy. And UPL, if you sold all the coins on the network, Len, like how much of it would be in loss? You'd have more people in loss now than people in gain, which is big, right? You want to see that kind of stuff. And then obviously like the, Old Faithful here, the RSI, you're way oversold. RSI ended up getting to the lowest point ever on Bitcoin during that drop off on Thursday. And I, finished with this slide for that part. Like, if you think it's going to 0 after the drop it just had, like you're the same guy who goes into Rocky 4 and tries to go long Ivan Drago on Polymarket. Like you don't get it. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter how bloody this thing gets. Doesn't matter how bad it looks. It always bounces back. It makes people look stupid. It's always done that. And it's probably going to continue to do that for the foreseeable future. So, that was the case I made to them, that it's a good time to start buying and accumulating. And I took that advice. And by the way, we can see on the Bull Bitcoin show account that a lot of volume went through on Thursday and Friday. So people who listen to this show are doing that too, which is a good indicator. This show's got a smart listener base. And I can't stress enough that you don't get looks like this all the time. And you got really lucky here. And by the way, I wasn't the only speaker that said that. Jim Thorne on Friday night led the conference by telling people you should be selling your gold and silver and starting to think about rolling it into Bitcoin. Generational bottom, he was saying. Buying opportunity of a lifetime on this. So it ain't just us. It ain't just us.
Yeah, do what you got to do. If not, fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
That's
I'm going
right.
to sleep good at night no matter what happens.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, let's go over to the notable stories.
Oh, fuck yeah. This is going to be
Come back tomorrow if you're on audio. If you're on video, stay with us. We will see you in a second.
Don't be a bit dumb.
Don't be a bit dumb. Okay, let's hit it here. Let's start rolling.
There's a lot to talk about.
Well, let's try and get through it.
All right, this is going to be rough because I hope everybody's sitting down. I know you are, Joey. Got the story from the National Post. Judge grants leniency for Toronto crack dealer because of his 9 children and his race. This guy named Lloyd Williams. He 3 counts of possession of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. Dude was arrested a few times already. It's not his first time at this thing. Arrested in March 2024, October 2024, and January 2025. Each time after those arrests, you got arrested again and then just released. Twice on bail, and third time, looks like he's on a promise that he's going to wear a GPS tracking device. And the guy pleaded guilty to these charges. But there's a but here. The Crown was recommending a 6.5-year prison sentence. And even his lawyer was recommending a 2-year less a day in jail. The dude has 9 children in total. 2 stepchildren and 7 are biologically his. And the youngest of which is just 10 months old. Another 22 months old. Another 3. Dude is busy. And he also has 9-year-old twins, 2 10-year-olds, a 16-year-old. So he's got a small army there. And he says one of the 9-year-olds is on the autism spectrum, according to the judge. And he provides support as a father to his children, and any lengthy absence would be a significant impact on their health and well-being. Williams identifies as both Black and Micmac. Micmac, there's probably, we'll say I said it right. Let's Micmac. Okay, it's right. Although he couldn't prove that he's Micmacian, whatever. The judge was satisfied that Williams has established a connection to his indigenous ancestry. So it's not unusual for indigenous people to have struggled under the yoke of colonialism. This is from the judge in the country and its intergenerational impact to have lost connections to their roots and community. Further, markers of the effect of intergenerational trauma, including poverty, familial education struggles, education, mental health. You know,
Yeah.
this is.
Let
storytelling.
me. Are you
I
ready
gotta
for
finish
this?
I gotta
Okay,
finish
you
this.
got more. Okay, yep.
This
Keep
is
going.
it's a sad, you know, the guy got all this. He's a mid-level trafficker. That's what, according to, he's a mid-level trafficker, right?
Mhm.
He notes that the 9 children, still some infants, one needing additional support, and there's no evidence that suggests that the support that he provides beyond the financial support, like, he has to do it. He has to continually provide this, and he cannot rule any harder than what's. This guy is a 3-time convict, the last of which he fucking pled guilty. He has a bunch of kids, some of his own, some of his not. Now, the ones that are not, good for him for taking care of that, but the ones that are his, you can't use that as an excuse for not getting longer time in jail, right? Like, if I have 50 kids or no kids, no matter what the fuck I do, I should get the same sentence. I did a fucking crime, I gotta pay the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy was carrying around a fuckload of crack, $7,800 worth of crack when he was fucking. And it was
how much crack is that? Like, does anyone know how much that is? Is that a lot?
It wasn't just crack too. It was
like
crack.
I happen to know what an 8-ball costs and what an 8-ball looks like, and so $7,800 is not that much coke. But I don't know if also crack is a different thing. I mean, whatever. If he's got weed, who cares? It's the crack that's bad.
He was caught with it. So, and it's not for small amounts of traffic. Like, he's saying he's doing this simply to feed his addiction and also to help pay for his kids. Mm-hmm. So I don't get it. You know, we have this and more coming up I want to talk about, but I don't get how the judge, the system in which they have now.
I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you how. Are you sitting down? I want you to be sitting down for this. I'm going to take
my ass, man.
I'm going to take the other side of the argument here.
Oh, please do. I want to hear it.
The judge has to rule this way. He has no choice. And the reason he has no choice is because this is ingrained in law. It's baked into law. There's such a thing in courts, Canadian courts specifically, called Gladue courts or Gladue courts, Gladue. And these courts are meant to handle cases where someone identifies as Indigenous, Métis, Inuit, whatever. And they're meant to be used to stop the overrepresentation of Indigenous people in jail. This is part of a 1999 Supreme Court of Canada ruling, R versus Gladue, that requires judges to, quote, consider the unique circumstances of Indigenous people. This means the jail should be considered a last resort and all other reasonable alternatives to imprisonment should be looked at first. This is baked into Canadian law. I didn't know that until today because I thought there's just no way that this can keep happening and no one seems to ever pay a price for it. The reason is because the judges are forced to consider this first in all these Indigenous crime cases, which is crazy. But also, why doesn't the article mention this? Why don't any of these why did I have to look this up? And all the times we've talked about this, like the reduced sentences for minorities, Indigenous, whatever, it's never come up on this show. And today I was just like, there's something going on here. Why does this keep happening? This is why.
You hear stories like this, and now I thank you for providing that background. I don't know, man. Like,
I'm not agreeing with it, but
I 100% I'm on. You know, I'm just. It is. All you could do is just shake your fucking head.
Agreed.
And say why. Like, what that is. At least the next story, I'm going to say for sure, because I don't want to get in trouble with the law here. Okay. Then this Project South. This is truly Banana Republic shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the 7 Toronto police officers were arrested. 3 Peel police were suspended. And what is going on for anybody that's living under a rock? Apparently this started back in June of 2025. It was discovered plans were made by the police to murder a senior Ontario corrections officer. Didn't Ross go to jail for a lifetime for a murder for hire type thing? I know
less than this.
Different country, different laws applies.
Yeah.
But still, like if you look at the type of crime that's being committed here, I digress though. It appears from this, there's serious shit going on. We got violent crimes, shootings, extortions, robberies. This is the stuff you'd expect from a third world, not from Canada. And the result of this, we have the 7 officers that are now in jail. One was actually a retired official too. So the guy thought he probably was gone and he escaped all this stuff. They're going to face criminal charges, serious ones at that. And there's also bribery, drug trafficking. And you think about it, like what really fucking pisses me off here is these guys, gals, I don't know if they're all guys.
It's all guys so far.
Oh, all guys. Names. Okay.
Yeah.
They're there to uphold the law, right? To be unbiased, to protect us, to provide justice to us, like to ensure that we have confidence that the law is on our side. We call up the police when we're in trouble. We need them for help. There's even just being there provides a level of confidence, right? Like we don't need this biased bullshit that's going on. And you see this, you read about this story. The Chinese police stations have more confidence in me at this particular moment in time than do these people, right? Yeah. And if these allegations are true, right? Like because right now nobody's convicted, nobody's put in a slammer, but if they are, the people that are involved in this, these motherfuckers, they could all just fuck off. Yeah. Every one of them could just fuck right off because they fucking did it. Like everybody should be.
What's the punishment? What's the punishment?
I don't fucking know. But you get, at least for myself, I get more and more angry when I'm just fucking done. Between the last story, this story, how many times do we need, you need help from the police and you try calling them, they say, leave your keys at the front of the house.
Yeah.
Obey what the people that fucking intrude in your house. And that way you don't have confrontation. How long, then you call the police? How long before they show up?
If they show up at all. Yeah, they won't show up until a day later. I've told stories on this show of people who've had break-ins and the cops don't show up for 3 hours. I heard a story from one person who I won't share their name, but this person told me that they had a break-in at their house twice in a few days. The second time, the police got there and basically waited for the armed intruders to vacate the property before they went inside. How about that? Like completely spineless. That's what you're paying for, man. This is what you get when policing includes, men in uniform wearing high heels at pride parades. This is what you get when policing includes community outreach at, those centers for it's a number of different things. But when you invite people who do not view policing as a vocation, but rather as a 9-to-5, you're more likely to get corruption than if you go the other way. And I would argue you're seeing this now in major police forces. Also, are we going to pretend that it's a surprise all of a sudden that they couldn't catch any car thieves or bust any car theft rings when these guys are on
and then when people have those tags and they tell you which fucking trailer it's in,
I don't know where it is. Yeah, the air tags. Yeah, I can't get it. Okay, it seems bad, doesn't it? It seems way worse now, for sure.
This could be worse. And I hope this is just a few rotten apples.
It's not going to be.
But the way
why doesn't the chief resign? Right, the chief I think has been under some fire on socials and all that. Just no hint of resignation coming down the pipe at all.
What's horrible about this? It's going to fuel the narrative of defund the police.
Yeah,
and by doing so, by having less resources allocated to good cops out there to try to do their job, you are going to destabilize society because you'll have more people running amok because they have less opportunity to be caught. And you have then a sliding society. Yeah. Last week, I talked about the court judge that fucking retired to avoid being...
That was a banger story. Yeah.
You have now this. So you have...
Are they going to retire? Is that what you're saying? They're going...
No, it's just the faith that I have in this system. Every week it just continues to erode. And you know what? I say this all the time. Like, you got to fucking figure out what to do. What is going to be the alternative here, right? You're going to have some corrupt fucking idiots out there they're going to take law into their own hands.
They're going to
and
fill the gaps. Yeah.
To serve and protect. Right. And now I say all this, I'm probably going to get nabbed for speeding, even though I'm not speeding. But the laugh is on you because I have a fucking dash cam and that shit fucking works.
Yeah.
So I recommend people do the same thing. But really, like, just be careful, right? Like, people may look at me and say, like, I am always looking at the negative side of things. I am a fucking realist. I've been to countries that I could, and I've asked them, I could pay the cop 100, 200, and it beat the shit out of somebody. I've been to those countries. How long before this shit happens here?
How do you know
we
it's
used
not?
to laugh
like,
at
you
those
can't
countries.
You can't even say that it's not happening here after this, can you? Who knows? They tried to kill a guard. They had a hit out on a prison guard.
I am fucking done on so many levels.
Yeah.
So many fucking, like, if I could leave today, I would. I'm stuck because of family commitments, but those commitments don't last forever. There comes a point in time I'll be disappeared, and you may or may never hear of me again. I don't know. We'll see at that particular moment. But I really, like, people out there, and you think, okay, things are going to improve. You're not going to vote your way out of this. Society is not going to get you. You have to improve what you have. And if the society around you is fucking getting worse, you got to find somewhere that's better. Where is that? Up to you to find out what the fuck that is. But there's got to be something better, including better weather too. That's another fucking bonus. Like, who wants to fucking deal with this -20 bullshit?
Yeah.
But this is this sad reality. This is what we fucking come to.
Yeah.
Corrupt police arrested. My God. And they're going to do a provincial-wide audit, it looks like. Maybe it's the wrong word, audit.
Good luck.
The investigation and all the police forces.
Heard that before. I don't trust it. I mean, the point, the broader point here, okay, is institutional trust has decayed to the point of just evaporation. No one trusts anyone anymore. You don't trust the bank. You don't trust the cops. You don't trust the mayor. You don't trust the premier, the prime minister, whatever. Like, everyone's got their sort of line in the sand. I will once again point out that in the sovereign individual, this is mentioned, this decay. And then, as you pointed out, the filling of the gaps by the nomadic class, the sort of, like, net worth, the high net worth individuals that don't want to put up with this stuff anymore, and they just start leaving. They get together because the incentives demand that they help each other and protect each other, and they find ways to do it. They do it with militia, they do it with mafia, they do it with whatever. This is the origin of the mafia, by the way. Mark and I were talking about this a little bit today. The mafia took over in the early days because government couldn't provide protection.
There was a vacuum that they had to fill.
No, like, this is what happens. And you're allowing this vacuum to start again at a time when people are more than willing to carry weapons. They're more than willing to, support their community and stuff like that. And this is a dangerous time for Canada, and not just in terms of violence and, sort of lack of faith in policing, but also in terms of, like, points of no return. Like, is the Toronto Police Department past the point of no return now? If this 9 turns into 20, turns into 100, there's almost no chance it's only 9 of them. Almost no chance. So, are we really thinking this is going to be something they can come back from? I certainly don't think that. And I think they got a lot of questions that they have to answer. The question is, will they answer them? And if they don't, that's another vacuum that shows up, right? So, good luck, I guess, if you're in Toronto. But if you're not, then maybe your police force is doing something similar. You really have no idea until something happens, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been following this story about people driving cars, and those cars are flying off those ramps, the on ramps and off ramps and the highways and stuff?
No.
Have you? So apparently 4 cars have gone off the on ramps and off ramps, because what happened in the past 2 weeks, you were around for this. We had a huge dumping of snow.
Enormous, yeah.
And so as they plow it, for these on ramps, they plow it, and it kind of builds up against the edge. Yeah. So people come in too fucking fast.
Oh, it acts as a ramp.
It acts, and they shoot up, and 4 cars in the past week have done this.
Where?
Before. But we can suspect that the people that are behind all this, we had a guy doing it on a southbound 427, and man. It's interesting. Never before, and I've been living in this neck of the woods for nearly 50 years. I've never remembered this shit ever happening before, and people they do not know how to fucking drive in these conditions, and it doesn't have to be fucking snowy roads, just a little bit of wet on it and a little bit of ice, and they're fucking gone, man. It's fucking Dukes of Hazzard all over again.
Oh, look out! I'm not going to comment on this. I want to save my comments for the Brampton versus Hamilton man, which I'm sure is going to share some similar theme. So
Hey, I never even hinted that. All right, let's talk about these EV mandates. I love these EV mandates because they were targeting to have EVs account for 20% of new sale cars in Canada this year.
Yeah.
Gone. No longer are they going to try to achieve that. They're also going to try to achieve 100% by 2035. Gone. In its place, we have a 75% new car sales are got to be EVs or plug-in hybrids by 2035 and 100% by 2040. Essentially just kicking that can down the road by 5 years. And there's now new rebates, 5K rebates for EVs and 2.5K rebates for plug-in hybrids. And they also are going to be investing $1.5 billion in EV infrastructure so they could build charging stations and shit like that so people could fill up their car with electricity more readily available. What's the result of all this? Right? Like they're still trying to sell more of these EVs. And
they're dying to. Yeah,
right?
They're dying to.
The energy generation probably won't keep up. And so the cost of electricity is supply and demand. It's probably going to go up as well. And a good used internal combustion engine car probably keep its value because there will be demand for that, especially if oil prices continually remain low moving forward. It's been pretty low as it is. And you think about it, is this really about CO2? Right? If it really is, the people pushing it, would they be flying on private jets?
No.
The answer is no, man. They would not be going around. By the way, going to Australia and not too distant, not me, the private jet dude. And EVs, I just want to state, I'm not against it. I'm not for it. They have a practical purpose for somebody can use it. They're good for certain things. They're bad at certain things.
Yeah.
But it's, like I want to try to say, it's not a one size glove fits all approach. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. If you have short city trips, EVs are wonderful. Long trips, a little more challenging. Towing, probably not the best. So it's just certain things works really well. Other things, not so much. The total direct investment by the federal government for this new program is going to be around $7.4 billion or around 1.3% of the federal budget. By the way, took a look at the public debt. It's going to be $52 billion as of this year, 8.8% of the whole budget, 10% on deck. I read all this. Only one word comes to mind, Joey.
What?
That's accelerate. That's accelerate.
I'm with you there. You know what's funny? Like the thing is that EVs, you would think that they would want to support like middle class families, right? But EVs cost, what? And let's leave the Chinese ones out for now. What does a Tesla cost? $75,000. Like that $5,000, $10,000, whatever that rebate ends up being, is not going to help you or me or like people who are just sort of living middle class lives buy an EV. It's not going to help. I'm not buying an EV if you give me a $5,000 rebate. But the people who are buying the EVs get the $5,000 rebate. They don't need it. They don't need it. You know what the other thing I heard was? The EVs coming over from China next year, the 49,000, 29,000. Did you know that some of those will be Teslas because Tesla manufactures over there?
I'm aware that they make Teslas.
They are going to be included.
I wasn't aware
in that total.
They're going to sell.
How about that?
But why? Why would they do that?
Why not? They're going to bring 29,000 cars over. Tesla gets a chunk of it, I guess. I don't know how they decided that, but look out for that next year. So you got like all these different things happening with EVs, and none of it really makes anyone any richer, doesn't offer supports to the right people, doesn't, you're bringing Tesla more into the market in the, in the face of all this, I hate Elon stuff. And it's like, what are we doing, man? Like what's happening here? I have no idea what the plan is. Not at all. And then, Minister Jolie the other day saying that the deal with China is going to be so tight that what you might start seeing is Canadians working on Chinese cars in Canada. Why would China ever make a car in Canada. The labor here is way more expensive. It's way less efficient, way less effective. We don't have near the industrial capacity, near the manufacturing expertise. These guys are in la la land. Truly, like, I don't know why you would say that on camera. That's obviously not going to happen. We got to stop doing this. We got to stop doing this. They'll probably stop doing it before the election that's coming up. But
you think that there's going to be one, eh?
I do. I don't know how it's going to happen. Like you said, the process is the hang up for you, and maybe it should be.
That's the one thing I can't figure out. I mean, I see all the signs pointing at it, right? They are saying that Elections Canada got ordering 700,000 ballot boxes or whatever the fuck they're doing, whatever the fuck it is. And that article from the Global Mail saying Carney met with Rob Ford. Doug Ford.
Dougie. You don't meet with Rob. You meet with Doug. Yeah. Sort of a one-sided meeting with Rob.
I don't understand how Doug gets involved in this, but
because he's a liberal. He's a liberal premier. Like, of course, he needs that support from Ford to continue to win in Ontario, I think. And he got it last election. Part of me says that the reason they tried to really bury Poilievre with all these like approval numbers during the leadership campaign is because they wanted someone else to have to run. They wanted the party to be in a little bit of turmoil when they did the election cycle. So we'll see. I don't know. All this stuff it's in flux. And I'll be like, I say this all the time. You know better than me what it looks like to have an election. It sounds like we agree that the signs are there, but the process is the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. How they're going to trigger it. The only thing that it potentially happen is if there's a trade agreement that's ripped up this summer, this spring or something. And then he goes, okay, I need to have a mandate in order to negotiate a new trade agreement with the United States, but they have a pseudo majority right now. So the Governor General, I can't understand how is it a he or she? Say she's a she.
It's a she. Our Governor General is a she. Yeah. So
I don't understand how she would even agree to that type of notion because, they're already there. And then you got this, what's that fucking guy that went over to United States, the MP from the Conservative Party.
Oh, yeah.
Jaleel or something.
Yeah, I don't know if he's black or like Jamaican or something, but I know who you're talking about. The bald guy, right? The kind of like heavier set bald guy. Yeah.
So like that guy.
He was JD Vance's roommate in college, by the way.
Whose roommate?
I think he was JD Vance's roommate in college.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I heard that. Or they know each other somehow, but anyway.
Harper, this is so similar to what happened less than 20 years ago when Harper had a special envoy to the Middle East, and he picked Wajid Khan to do that. If you want to,
I don't even know who that is. That's before I was paying a lot of attention.
Duffer Mazda Wajid Khan, and so he was at the time a Liberal Party MP, and it was people were like, what the fuck? Why does the Conservative Party have a Liberal MP become a special envoy? Sure enough, a couple of months later, Wajid Khan jumps ship and becomes a conservative. So like I'm looking at this is kind of the same thing. It's like this guy's going on behalf of the Liberal government there to like negotiate some deal or talk to the vice president, and this guy is going to flip seats, it looks like. So we wait long enough, the Liberal Party is going to get a majority regardless.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Like they have one right now without it being an actual majority.
Yeah, I think they'd be wasting. The thing I think they're going to rely on, honestly, is Alberta's going to get the number of signatures they need to do a referendum, and the national unity angle is going to be one angle. The Kuzma/Trump specter is going to be the other angle, and he's going to get a big time majority, like dynastic 4-year, no questions asked majority to do whatever he wants, and he's going to take it. Why wouldn't he take it?
If he does something like that, if the Governor General also agrees, I can't believe she would, but if she agrees to go ahead and dissolve Parliament, it makes him look awfully opportunistic. And typically when somebody does an opportunistic move, they are generally hurt by this. So the one that really comes to mind is, it's a long time ago in Ontario when Peterson decided to call the election, they lost. Bob Rae's NDP won right away because he looked like a fucking opportunist. And you know what, this may be the same thing that could bite him in the ass, but maybe not. Because like you say, that Alberta separation thing is going to hurt the Conservative Party massive.
Big time. Because they will not address it. They just keep dancing around it. Like they
can't address it.
I know they can't, but that's going to hurt them for sure. And that's why I think Carney would be wasting that opportunity. And by the way, I think people view you as opportunistic maybe when you have like a 51%, or 55%, whatever. He's got a lot more than that. And I think that I don't think people view him as opportunistic. Certainly not his base, and certainly not the people I talked to in Vancouver on the weekend who don't love Carney but still view him as better than Polyev. Like I think there's a lot of reasons why he would do it. I mean, as if Carney is the only guy deciding, but I think there's a lot of reasons the party would do it. There's not many opportunities you're going to get where you can run your platform as you want to run it with no questions asked, while also having sort of substandard expertise around you for the sake of winning an election. Like you want to keep Jolie and Champagne and all these people who have proven to be, I think, ineffective in a lot of ways, but they win their riding. That's a hub of support for you. And that's an important thing if you're Carney. So, why not just do it? And then also, like, Len, let's face it, if Mark Carney says he wants to do something and asks if anyone has any feedback, like what feedback is Melanie Jolie going to give him? None. What feedback is Champagne going to give him? Champagne's a lawyer. He's not a finance minister. Like what's Evan Solomon going to tell him about data centers? Nothing. He doesn't know anything about it. And so you want those people in your cabinet.
We're always lawyers. This is just the way it is.
I know.
Typically, it's a lawyer. It's a finance
I'm not saying it's not always a lawyer, but I am saying, like, it's one thing for a lawyer to give feedback to Trudeau. It's another thing for a lawyer to give feedback to Carney. And I don't think he's getting a lot of pushback from anyone. And by the way, you see it in the way he talks. Like
it's more of a one, like,
before he's running it like a CEO. He's running that party like a CEO. It shows.
And before, it seemed like it was more of a team.
Yeah,
this is more of like the way Harper ran it. It's just,
it's another economist, by the way.
Was Harper an economist?
I can't remember. He's an economist. He's got to be. These guys have a vision. They execute on it. Anyway,
final story. I'm going to share with you a couple of things in the chat here behind the scenes, if you want to, because Toronto and in BC, we're getting some new named areas. So in Toronto, we have, and I can't even pronounce. That's why we need these videos up there.
We got to show the video.
Woodsy Park, I think that's what it's called, is no longer called Woodsy Park. That's 401 in Leslie. It's now got a new name. And if you play the first link, I will show you the name of it. The second one, by the way, is a Patulo Bridge. No longer is going to be called that. Then I can't even fucking pronounce the name. But maybe somebody
we'll run both videos. We'll run both videos. We'll start with the lady. I don't know which one she is. But
Shelley Carroll, that's Toronto with the Woodsy Park.
No, I know that. But
well, Shelley Carroll, she's a city councilor, a longtime city councilor.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's have a listen.
Hence the name Eta Nona Wastina. It translates to where they lived good and beautiful lives.
It really is.
Learning to say the name is just a small way we can all be accountable to healing our relationship with our nation's First Peoples. So let's go. Try it with me. Eta Nona Wastina.
Eta Nona Wastina.
Eta Nona Wastina.
These guys got to keep Eta Nona Wastina all my fucking money on these dumb fucking causes. Let's keep watching. Let's keep watching.
Eta Nona Wastina.
That's it for the first one.
This is like she's like my sleep paralysis demon.
And then, so in BC now we have a Patulo Bridge replacement. Okay. And if you want to punch up that video,
I'll punch it up. Here we go. Let's fire it up.
All
right, here we go. You ready? Oh, this is gonna be good.
As in the word sit in English, which makes a s sound.
The next letter is a T. It makes the sound. An A in Hunt Communum is always pronounced like the A in the English word father. It makes the sound ah.
Next letter is a glottalized L. Oh,
the next.
Just pause it here for a second, Joey. I just want to say something.
What do you say? Guadalized? Like Guadalupe?
The fact that this is like fucking Sesame Street.
Did we not agree like a year ago that the languages that we think these people use are actually just like made up? Like we made them up to help interpret some things, but it's not actually like a native indigenous language. I thought we talked about this like a year ago. There was some commentary around this, that the language we assign to these people is actually something that like the quote unquote, colonialists came up with. So it's not even really their language. I'm pretty sure I have that right. Let's keep listening. Whatever, we'll figure it out.
Schwa and
No, we
a
won't.
glottalized W, which make an O sound.
The next letter is an A. It makes the sound ah.
The S is the same as the first S. It makes the sound S.
The next letter is schwa. It makes the sound ah.
The next letter is an M, and it makes the sound mm.
All of that together makes the name for the new bridge being Stallo Awesome.
Stallo awesome.
Stallo awesome.
Stallo awesome.
Stallo Awesome is the Hunkaminam version, which translates into Riverview. And we chose that because
It's hard for me to be mad at that guy because he's like just a sweet old man. But like, I don't know what to say about this anymore. Besides, like, what I'm not learning these dumb names for shit. No one's calling Nathan Phillips Square fucking whatever they named it. No one's
Why
calling.
did they rename it?
No one even fucking knows, man. Like, no one's talking about that name.
Are you
one's
talking about Dundas?
Whatever squares. Yeah, St. Cope. Like, no one's using that. No one's using it. I'm not gonna. You have to draw the line somewhere. Okay. I'm just gonna remind people that we, like European settlers, were the victors in Canada. They were the victors everywhere they went. And I don't owe anybody any guilt. I don't owe anybody any undue, monetary settlement. I don't owe anybody private ownership to the land that I have a mortgage on. It's amazing to me that British Columbia has this like suicidal empathy for people who are actively speaking in public places to tribe leaders, to labor unions, to politicians about they own the land where you live and they want that land back now, regardless of what title you think you have to it. By the way, if you look at the hierarchy of title in Canada, it's another thing baked into the fucking laws here. Like we've made so many mistakes under the guise of everyone will play fair. Well, now they're not playing fair and you still want to rename shit for them. Why? We've talked so many times on this show, sometimes in jest, sometimes seriously, about the problems with Indigenous communities and the way they treat not only their own, but the way they treat people who have tried to support them. Hundreds of millions of dollars poured into these places over the last 50 years and nothing to show for it. Still high crime. Still, when an Indigenous woman is murdered, it's almost always an Indigenous killer. When an Indigenous baby is kidnapped, it's almost always an Indigenous kidnapper. We have to pretend like it's not, but I'm sick of it. And so is everyone else, by the way. So is everyone else. Enough of this, man. It's got to stop.
You know what we're not stopping is going to be talking about 256 heat because you know why? It's fucking cold outside.
It's time.
We need these units. We need 256 heat units to keep us warm and make some sats at the same time, Joey.
That's
you
right.
have one blaring right beside your.
Yeah,
right?
I do. It's right
I don't
there,
fucking
yeah.
hear it.
I have to get.
hear it.
There's a new thing starting next week that I haven't announced yet, and I want to put Twan's heater up like right over my shoulder so you can see it on the stream. It's the least I could do. So Twan, if you're listening, maybe on the weekend you can come by. We'll have a beer and you can bring me some French cleats. You also have to install it because I am not going to be drilling into any walls. So
Just look for the stud. Boom, boom, boom.
my house famously low on studs. Okay,
Then
famously
use
low on
drywall
studs.
anchors.
The French cleat doesn't need studs. So that's why he got them. Because I think a lot of people are looking to hang them up because they don't weigh that much, right? The unit weighs like 20 pounds or something like that. It's really light. So if you haven't got one yet, think about it. I mentioned you in my presentation as well, Twan. So anyway, 256 heat is where you need to be looking for that stuff. And I heard, like I said, from a friend of the show, George in Alberta, even though it didn't work out for him, Twan spent like half an hour with him on the phone, did all the math, worked out all the, the arithmetic and told him why it wouldn't work and, what he could do to make it work or what would have to happen. Who else is doing that? You can't go to Twan's website and just pile shit into a shopping cart and buy it. You actually have to talk to Twan and he will make time to talk to you. You, listener, viewer. He will talk to you on the phone. He'll email with you. He will take care of you. If it doesn't work for you, he will tell you. He's not going to take your money. Can't beat that. And that's why we partnered with him. So go to 256heat.com. Man, mining hash rate is down. Did you notice your rewards are way up, Len?
No, I
Mine
don't look at
are
it
up.
that
Mine are up about
frequently.
20%. On
wait.
block by block.
No, I'm pool. I'm not in a pool. I'm solo mining. So
you're solo. Mine
yeah,
are 20%
please.
block by block. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, I thought you were solely mining as well, Joy, because we do not mine and not declare, right? I have yet to hit a block.
no comment.
So I have yet to hit a
that.
block, and then
Yeah,
when I
mean,
do, I will declare that motherfucker. Don't worry
whatever.
about that.
I don't care. There you go. Talk to Twan 258. My comments are off, Len. My browsers are closed. Fire away.
All right. The famous Brampton versus Hamilton man.
Here we go.
Game. So number one, we got a shirtless drunk. Man, he took a bath in a church holy water, please say. So a man has been arrested.
I'm a Catholic. The holy water is like a little bowl at the front.
He really needed to fucking clean up. This guy was arrested on a series of charges after a drunken rampage through a church, and allegedly included bathing in the holy water, vandalizing religious objects, and trying to light a wine-soaked altar on fire. And this happened at Saturday afternoon, 3:45 p.m. An intoxicated man and woman went into church, and once inside, they started yelling and swearing. And the man went over to the holy water and started to bathe, and he started washing himself. And another woman who happened to be inside the church at the time saw what was going on and told the man to leave and scolded him for disrespecting the church. The man and woman left, only for the man to return a short time later, now shirtless, by the way, and approach the altar. And he takes a glass of wine that was sitting beside a chalice, and he poured it all over a piece of cloth, and he took out a lighter, tried burning the cloth, but because it was soaked in wine, it didn't ignite whatsoever. So the suspect went into the sacrament room where he knocked over several religious items and threw holy bread on the floor. He then
not the Eucharist. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I don't want to speak the Lord's name in vain. Not during this story. Okay.
Well, he broke into the cabinet at the back that was full of rosaries and religious items. He put on a beaded rosary, and then he was escorted out by the woman. At this time, the police were called, and they found the man shirtless on the ground wearing a rosary in an intoxicated state. 26-year-old was arrested and charged.
26? Oh, man.
That was story number one.
Okay.
Story number two. This is a man from either one of the two cities which I talked about.
Okay.
Busted in Florida for drone photos at a Space for Space.
Huh.
This guy, a senior, was charged in Florida for allegedly using a drone for illegally photographing classified U.S. defense installations at the Cape Canaveral Space Station.
Just average snowbird activities there.
So he was charged with 3 counts of using an unmanned aircraft to photograph sensitive and vital military facilities and equipment at the Space Force base without the base's commander's prior authorization. And he's described as an enthusiastic drone photographer and videographer for 5 years.
By who? His wife?
The local club.
Okay. The police aren't going to describe
no,
him like
but
that.
The local photography and so yeah, it's took some videos, and allegedly it took these unauthorized photos. It was a space payload processing facility, a submarine wharf, and a munitions bunker. And so he did this, and he was basically given a slap on the wrist. But yeah, they got this guy taking pictures of a military base in Florida, Cape Canaveral.
Yeah,
and
that's the military base. Yeah, Canaveral. Everyone knows that one.
And you have the shirtless drunk getting cleansed. Not his sins, but his body cleansed.
The shirtless drunk was not with the woman. The woman was present in the church.
He came in initially with a woman.
Yeah.
They both left, and he came back alone, left the woman outside. There was a woman inside.
The Brampton man typically commits the crime without any female assistance, right? So it's out of character for the Brampton man to be running with a chick. But it's also uncharacteristic for the Brampton man to be in Florida. Why is the Brampton man in Florida? He doesn't have necessarily the resources to spend a vacation south of the border, has a drone. He's visiting military camps. He's part of a drone photography club. Like, doesn't seem right. But the woman thing is really throwing me off, you know? Also, it feels to me like the Brampton man is spiritual, you know, and so maybe he doesn't run up in a church. He runs up like a shopping mall or like a mechanic shop or like whatever. but I guess the church is open 24/7.
There's lots of
This is a good
variables
one.
here
Yeah,
to
this is a good
digest.
one from you. Yeah. I still think the real difficulty is the drone club thing. Like the Brampton man often exhibits antisocial behavior unless he's with other Brampton men. So I think the Brampton man has got to be the church guy.
So the 26-year-old is the Brampton dude, and
Nice.
the other guy. No, sorry. The 26-year-old is from Hamilton.
No, I got
yeah.
it wrong. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So the guy that
Poly
went to
market?
Florida.
What's the poly market on that? I gotta check the action on the betting market on my accuracy.
guy
I
that
think
went
I'm
to-
like 1 for 3 the last 3 weeks, right? Pretty sure.
Yeah. So the guy that went to Florida was a senior, 71-year-old. I can't. He's Chinese, I believe. Xiao Guangpan.
Wow.
From Brampton.
That's a
71 years
wrinkle.
old.
Chinese guy from Brampton. Okay. Yeah.
And
Jeez.
he's part of the photography club local in Brampton, the Brampton Arts Organization. So he was charged for taking pictures. Seemed like he was just, he was just doing this for fun with nothing nefarious about it. And 26-year-old Hamilton dude was the guy that was charged.
Who was the guy? What was the Hamilton guy's name?
You know what? It does not say, but it happened to the St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church on Park Street North.
Yeah, I know where that is.
You know where that
Yeah.
street is.
Yeah, Park Street.
But that's where.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Fuck, I gotta look at the poly market. That's not good. I'm costing people money here. People who are betting with me are you have to explain to your wife why you can't afford Fruit Loops this week. Shit. This idiot doesn't know
And they
stories
levered it.
anymore.
They levered against this too.
They levered up. Yeah.
Fuck. It's gonna be tough times ahead. They'll be left just with XRP in their fucking
that was a marathon show, hour 45 minutes. But
and there's still shit left on the cutting room floor at that. Incredibly.
We made it. Listen to this program. I'll be back. There'll be a show with Kev Muir on the feed sometime this week. Doomberg next week, Scott Horton, and don't forget Axis of Easy too, where we talk about other stuff going on. This week on Axis of Easy, a relevant story to CBP, the Discord, moving into ID required or facial scans required for people in channels they deem to be not so kid friendly. I don't know if we'll be in that category, but I suppose they'll tell us at some point. So look out for that. And until next time, friends, take care of yourselves.
Don't be a shirtless man.